We titled this A New Era of Trust. What is new about trust now? Shouldn't people have been trusting, localization companies like Lionbridge with their content transformations before? What's different? What has changed?
AI now is just another player in a complex ecosystem. It's like another piece of the puzzle of a bunch of people or agents, let's say, that intervene in a process. And like as you hinted at in your question, I think we've always had the question of, should I trust this partner, this company, this vendor, this customer for that matter, this person, because of this the indeterministic nature of what they do. Now AI is just a new agent in that. And the question therefore becomes, should you trust your partner to use AI in a responsible manner? Should you trust the AI that you yourself use as being able to answer the question that you ask it, and to what extent? And how do you distinguish between a decision made by a machine from a decision made by a human? Humans themselves, being non-deterministic machines, are also a question of to what extent you should trust them. And AI, modern AI, is actually more like a human than like a machine when you think about it.
Do you have any thoughts about, this sort of transparent, reliable, useful, safe, and sort of timely sort of framework that, that we've been developing as a means to, sort of think about this process?
At Cisco, we have been very fortunate to have strong legal involvement. So at the very front end of any AI process, it goes through a legal review, an InfoSec review, and that really does help with the transparency and the trust component. So as we move into this AI world or AI technologies and incorporating those into our processes, we know at the front end that they've been tested, they're safe, we can move forward with them.
In transparency, it's also understanding where your data is coming from, and how reliable that data is, be it from a large language model, be it from a RAG. Data has to be, you have to be transparent about where it's coming from. And it also goes into, is it reliable, right? Is your data reliable so that the outcome from these large language models in your Gen AI process is giving you something that is useful. One of the things that I've seen when people rush into, let's have Gen AI is, have you tested it? Did you really understand what's coming through with it? Is it giving you cost savings that you think it's going to, right? Which is one of the big things about Gen AI is, it'll save us money. But if you have to tune your LLMs, if you have to build your RAG, if you have to test it, you need to factor in all of those costs up front and how long you're going to get your return on investment. So again, is it useful? Is it timely? And how do you measure it in for there? Many governments are building their own large language models currently around the world. And certain governments may at some point in time say you can only use our large language model. And so if that's the case, then they've built their large language models to give an outcome that they want it to give, so a narrative that they want it to preach or whatever. And you have to be able to figure out ways so that you're still giving reliable content and useful content, and not bending to someone else's directive.
It may be not a government-sanctioned model, but there may be a GDPR or regulatory requirement that you're using a large language model in a data center hosted within a particular geopolitical domain. And that's important from a sort of a data protection and data privacy as well. And, trying to make sure that all of those boxes are ticked as you go through a process is also, I think, part of safety as well.